Hello everybody, I hope you guys are all enjoying your day. Today we're going to be looking at your next big winter storm, which is going to be impacting parts of the southwest in the central United States as well as the Great Lakes and northeastern United States with some snowfall. And that is going to be quite significant. Some areas could pick up 6 to 18 inches of snow according to some of these models. And we're going to just be looking at a couple of these models, the GFS and the European model, and comparing them and also contrasting them and kind of trying to make up our mind on how this storm is going to play out. We are still about 4 to 5 days out from this heading into the eastern United States. We are pretty certain on the west; it's not too far out, so we can start forecasting the west with some certainty. But we cannot forecast the eastern United States with certainty. We can kind of look at the models. We can look at the past models and kind of compare those. They have been on a steady trajectory, and they have been all agreeing for the most part on this storm actually occurring, but we aren't too sure on the fine details here. So that's what we're going to be going over today. Today we're going to start off with the National Weather Service. We have winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings as well as winter storm watches in effect for parts of the Rockies as well as the Sierras and in the purples, you have those winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings in the pinks, and then in the blues, you have your winter storm watches. We also have that up for the northern Rockies and northern Montana, as well as northern Minnesota, western Wisconsin, as well as western upstate New York, and a little portion here for southern New Hampshire and into southern Maine. Now, we are gonna get. Now we are gonna start talking about the more southern side of the system. We have some flood watches in effect, where you do have some severe weather going on. Really, right around this area, you have some severe weather going on right now. As well, you do also have some wind chill advisories and wind chill warnings in effect for parts of northern North Dakota, as well as northern Minnesota or Montana. I mean, and wind chill warnings are in those darker blues, and then wind chill advisories are in those lighter blues right there. As well, we have some red flag warnings in effect for parts of Texas right there, and also for the panhandle of Oklahoma right there. So now we are gonna get into your GFS model and what it's showing as far as the system. So here's the GFS model, and we're going to start looking at your simulated radar from the GFS model. So this is currently what's going on right now. We do have a system actually out on the northwestern United States, which is dumping some pretty good snowfall to the higher elevations as well. The lower elevations, and especially areas like Seattle, Portland, where you only average about 3 to 7 inches of snow per year, are actually picking up some snowfall from this. So you're not used to as like a lot of snowfall, but you do get snowfall from time to time, and it's not out of the ordinary. It is out of the ordinary. It is quite peculiar, but it's definitely not unheard of to see snowfall in these areas, and it is cold enough at the surface, at the lower elevations, to actually see some snowfall. So we are seeing snowfall in those areas. It's a light snowfall, it's about 1 to 3 inches, and then you get into the higher elevations, it's closer to 2 to 4 feet of snowfall. And then, especially as you get closer to the coast, it is mostly rain. So not too many big travel impacts in the northwest. Now, as we continue, this is your system right here. Now, the GFS has a strengthening low pressure, and it is much more bullish than the European model. Now, here's what the GFS is showing. It's showing a 977 low pressure sitting off the coast of Oregon and Washington. And you see, we have this front developing. We also have this secondary low pressure trying to squeeze in somewhere right around here. We also have a second low pressure squeezing in right here. These two are going to merge together right here. These two are going to merge right here, and then they're going to continue out and further away to the eastern United States. Now, as we continue this, you're seeing it goes up north, and here is your system. Your system again is over California at this point. Right here, what you're seeing right here, all this energy, this is your system right here. You're getting you're getting all this moisture getting pulled out from the Pacific Ocean, mainly a little bit coming out here from the Gulf of Mexico. In front of this system, this would be by Thursday, January the 16th, right around your lunchtime period, and you're seeing some severe weather potential for some severe weather over parts of Texas and into parts of the deep south, as well as parts of the southwest. Now, your main low pressure system is still situated right around here. This is just some supplementary moisture here that is going to help fuel this system. So you see, as this system breaks off, your low pressure, it's still in Wyoming, but the bulk of your precipitation in the form of ice and snow here is over parts of the Ozarks, according to this model. Now, we are going to change your view here over to parts of the eastern United States here. Now, you see, this is your system. Here's all your precipitation. Now, the important part of this system is that you have a high pressure right here that's damming in, bringing in cold air into parts of the Northeast and Great Lakes. So you have this cold air mass that's situated over the Northeast and Great Lakes, and that's going to allow in front of this system to see some snowfall. That's what's being produced here over Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, Wisconsin. That's all front end snowfall, and then it's going to transition over to rainfall, potentially some back end snowfall once the system is pretty much all said and done. Now, as we continue this, you're saying it starts to move into the Northeast when it was in the Great Lakes and Midwest. It's right around Friday morning, so this will only be 96 hours out. Now, this isn't too uncertain. Now, what happens in the Northeast, that's more uncertain here. So this is a GFS model. Take into consideration, this is just one model. Now, as we continue this, this would be for Saturday morning. Now, getting into Saturday afternoon, you're seeing heavier snow breaking out closer to the coast, according to this GFS model. And you still have this 1031 high pressure, which is a very strong high pressure situated over Quebec, Canada. And you're seeing all that cold air being pressed down into the eastern United States. And that's indicated by all the snowfall that's being breaking out. You are still going to have below average temperatures here. It's just not going to be cold enough in Virginia and the Carolinas to see snowfall this time of year. And then as we continue this, it starts to kind of redevelop a low pressure here. It's going to transfer. Now, this is the big deal here. When it transfers the low pressure here into somewhere off the eastern seaboard, off the northeast coast, when it transfers, that's going to be a big decider more for areas in New England. So areas like Boston, Portland, Maine, Concord, New Hampshire, all those areas are going to really depend on if you want a big snowstorm, you're going to want that transfer of low pressure faster, as because this cold air is starting to retreat by this point. It's being pushed further out into the North Atlantic by this point. So you still have to hang on to this cold air, and you want it to transfer faster so that you do get those more intense bands of snowfall while you still have your snowfall. Now, here's your total snowfall from the GFS. Here is the western United States. You see nothing too impressive. Seattle, Portland, seeing about anywhere from about 1 to 2 inches. Potentially isolated locations seeing 3 inches. Higher elevations seeing 2 to 4 feet of snowfall. And now as we continue this into the eastern United States right here, anywhere in these pinks, that's where the GFS is indicating over 6 inches of snow. So you're seeing that over a good portion of the Northeast and Midwest, as well as the Great Lakes, where you're seeing over 6 inches of snowfall. Now, here is what the European model is showing currently. We're going to take a zoomed out view. So here you see we have this system. This is your system right here over parts of the Northwest and off the coast of the Northwest. Now as it starts to slide down by Thursday night, and it brings snowfall and rainfall to California, coming in by Friday morning, as well as the Southwest. So Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, all seeing your snowfall by around Friday morning. You're also seeing some good ice breaking out, and this is also a big deal. We could also have a lot of icing with this event, so that could be also a big deal, especially after you just had Isaiah in these same exact areas, seeing where you saw about anywhere up to half an inch of ice. So you could still see that again over these areas, so definitely not a good situation there. Friday morning is when this frame is taking place. Heavier snow starting to break out over the Midwest as you get into Saturday morning, and then your front end snowfall starts to head in to parts of the Northeast and Great Lakes states as you get into Saturday afternoon and Saturday morning. Now, as we continue this, you see the coastal areas of the Northeast switch over to rain as the interior areas get in on some snowfall, and some pretty good snowfall at that. And then lake effect machines turn on, and you're just seeing some light snowfall beyond that. So here is your total snowfall from this event. You see the I-95 corridor getting spared here with this system, and just interior of the I-95 corridor, you're seeing your 12 to 24 inch amounts of snowfall. The Midwest seeing a good 1.5 feet of snowfall according to the European, and this is, mind you, just about 4 to 7 days out, so there is still a lot of time for this to change. This could go south or north. Really, we do have pretty good agreement that there will be some pretty heavy snow over the Midwest. Now, the how heavy the snow is, that's the big decider. The GFS showing 6 inches, and the European showing 18 inches in some of these locations. So very big difference there. But either way, you do look to see snow in those areas. The Northeast is where it's really getting a bit more crazy, and it's where we have more uncertainty because we are farther out, of course, and we do have to deal with that transfer of energy to the coast. Now, here quickly is the geopotential heights. Now, we have this high pressure out over parts in the southern Gulf of Mexico. Now, as we continue this, here is your system. Your system is situated right up here. You have some very below average height anomalies, and this is high up in the atmosphere, but this is showing you anywhere in the reds, that's where your high pressures are. Low pressures are in the greens, the purples, the blues. Now, as we continue this, you start to see this arm of energy start to break off from this low pressure. So this is your system right here that's breaking off. You still have this extremely high height anomalies here, very high pressure over there. And that's going to be able to bring in that colder air. Now, as we continue this, your low pressure starts to move over the Great Lakes, and you still have that cold air in place, so that is going to allow for some snowfall. And it's not going to be significant snowfall for the coastal areas. Just interior areas is going to be quite significant, 6 to 24 inches of snowfall there. And I will definitely have another update on this, potentially tomorrow or the day after, depending on if we do see any more important events that we do have to talk about here. I do make these videos daily here, so I would really appreciate if you do subscribe, like the video, and also don't forget to turn on notifications. Anyways, guys, that was Eli's Weather Guy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.